guys, welcome back. Before we get started today, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. I don't know how many of you saw the email from YouTube from last week, which said that YouTube reserves the right to monetize any and all videos, regardless of whether or not they are part of the YouTube Partnership Program. At this point, I doubt that my videos are monetizable. However, if any of you see an ad on any of my videos, please let me know. There's nothing I can do about it, unfortunately, short of doing something to make them actively unmonetizable. But I want to know if people are actually seeing them. And of course, there are ways to not see ads, no matter who you're watching. But let's get to talking about more Disciples of Tzeentch. The Scintillating hosts. To mortal eyes, the kaleidoscopic demon hosts of Tzeentch are impossible to distinguish from one another before the beholder is slain or driven to insanity. There is method to the madness, however, though none save perhaps the architect of fate himself can follow all the ever-changing configurations. They all abide by his strange laws. Tzeentch's forces are many and varied, their compositions often in flux. This fluid organization, quite the opposite of Khorne's militant and hierarchical cohorts, or the cyclical formations that serve Nurgle, delight this patron. Yet there remain hidden strictures that please Tzeentch, foremost among them the sacred number 9. Each convocation is led by a mighty Lord of Change, and is divided into 9 hosts. Each of these is led in turn by a subordinate greater demon, herald, or other powerful minion. The convocation's master may occasionally commandeer one of its hosts itself, should such a course of action appear propitious. All of Tzeentch's demons are dedicated to furthering their patron's rule. Indeed, as part of his essence, they rarely do anything else. But as they go about their tasks, they incline towards particular methods, depending on the convocation to which they belong. The demons of the Grand Cabal, for instance, represent Tzeentch in his role as the Great Conspirator, preferring espionage, intrigue, politics, and clandestine sorcery to achieve their aims. They are perhaps the least openly warlike of the scintillating hosts, and favor winning their battles in the landscape of the mind rather than in the open field. The host duplicitous share a taste for misdirection, though for them it is an end unto itself. When forced to engage in person, they swathe themselves in mirages and shimmering illusions. Combined with the horror's innate ability to split, reform into new bodies, and split again, this makes them an amorphous and bewildering foe to face upon the field of battle. No simple sword blade can strike true against the hosts duplicitous. To win a victory against them, the weapons of the mind must prevail. The hosts Arcanum were among the first to invade Akshi's great parch, and still have a great presence there to this day. Ranging from parasitic familiars that suckle upon their unwitting masters, hiding their true forms, to towering greater demons that cackle maniacally as they devour magical artifacts and spell-wrought tomes. The hosts Arcanum have a myriad forms. I don't think that's a proper use of the word myriad. Screamers are common in their number, attracted to the invisible haze of energy that gathers around magic users as sea feeders are attracted to plankton in the ocean. The hosts, Arcanum, have long sought to claim the bounty of the Agloraxi Empire. Indeed, it was they who led those proud mages to the brink of utter annihilation, stoking their pride and supplying ever more arcane trinkets, mysteries, and riddles to unlock. It was this same overweening hubris that saw the Agloraxi take to the skies upon their giant floating city and, in doing so, offend Khorne enough that the blood god struck their metropolis from the heavens, causing it to shatter into 1,000,000 pieces across the Flame-Scar Plateau, much to the amusement of their hidden benefactor, Tzeentch. The Transcendental Change are birds of a different feather, relying heavily upon the power of mutation. They use transformational magics to cause immediate and dramatic physical alterations to their foes, the environment, even themselves. Although any of Tzeentch's demons can appear in all of the different convocations, some show a proclivity for specific ones. For instance, Flamers always feature prominently in the hosts of the Eternal Conflagration, while the mind-melting anarchy of the Unbound Flux typically revolves around cavorting masses of horrors. These hosts are more given to open war, for they rejoice in the color, noise, and light of their master's power unleashed in its most vibrant and destructive form. Each of the convocations strives to garner the lion's share from their master's praise. For a demon to earn its master's favor is to live and prosper. Should it instead displease its lord, it may be banished, diminished, or even subsumed to forfeit its essence altogether. As one would expect from the minions of Tzeentch, there is no end to their machinations as they put their own agendas and sabotage those of their rivals. When the great schemer weighs the tributes paid to him and proclaims his judgment, the sigils of each convocation writhe upon the shifting pyramid of Irch deep in the crystal labyrinth, blazing into a new hierarchical order. The 9 most favored scintillating hosts are each granted control of one of the fractal fortresses, and their fallen are resurrected more quickly from the 9 gates. Not surprisingly, this new order can turn quickly. It is as fickle as Tzeentch himself. Even his most favored and trusted demons walk a tightrope of causality that can see them rise to new heights or plummet into the darkness of disgrace. One need only listen to the legend of the Lord of Change, known as Kairos Fate Weaver, hurled deep into the well of eternity to sate Tzeentch's curiosity, in order to appreciate how capricious the changer of ways is. The flesh ascended. Not all demons begin their existence as such. Elenzeth, the Ninefold Promise, was once a mortal servant of the great schemer, granted the gift of demonhood after a lifetime spent gathering forbidden knowledge and lost secrets. He now stands eternal guard over the library city of Uzalith. Those who worship Tzeentch do so for power, knowledge, and immortality. Many find their way into arcane cults, wherein secrets must be unlocked and trials passed to ascend through the hierarchy. So it was for Elinseth the Ninefold Promise, whose mortal name was Elias the Seer. Naturally gifted in the arts of sorcery, but also keenly intellectual and mercilessly acquisitive in his quest for knowledge, Elias spent much of his life as a hermit in the wilderness. His only vice was to meddle in the fates of man, dwarden, and elf from afar, taking joy in each manipulation. This tendency led Elias down a dark path. He angered the scions of Khorne when he sent false omens to the Skull-Fiend tribe, leading them into the desiccating wilderness of the arid swath. When the blood-bound warlord learned the cause of the error, Elias fled across the mortal realms, joining a cell of the Guild of Summoners within the winding volcanic caverns of Vindicarum. Living in fear, he turned to the one god who claimed he could protect him, Almighty Tzeentch. He made many sacrifices to his new patron and earned ever more arcane prizes as he climbed through the ranks. At first, Elias avoided the pitfalls of pride and avarice that would have blasted the minds of lesser souls, prioritizing these plots of Tzeentch that benefited mankind over the other mortal races. He even navigated the warped corridors of a silver tower when he was finally called to account for himself, returning with boons of esoteric wisdom and mutation that seemed beneficial at first, but ultimately paved his way to demonhood. So is the path to glory traveled by those with the strength and willpower to do so, for much is gifted to those who dedicate themselves wholly to Tzeentch. Nine shall be their number. Each of the convocations that gather in Tzeentch's name has its own symbol. Only 9 such icons can occupy the prime positions upon their patron's shifting pyramid of Irch, where the fates burn hot. Those currently favored by Tzeentch have held their status since the beginning of the Age of Sigmar, but, as ever, change is inevitable. The eternal conflagration. Blazing with the unnatural fires of change are these warlords of weird flame. Demons all, their eyes are embers of malevolence, their blades the tongues of mutative infernos, set loose to wreak havoc on the flesh of their foes. All that are kissed by these fires find their mortal bodies transmogrified into surreal forms, screaming in their last moments as writhing tentacled blobs, statues of bone, or frozen crystal glimmering for the glory of Tzeentch. To face the eternal conflagration in battle is to gape at a kaleidoscopic display of power, and should the viewer not see sense enough to flee, to be consumed by those same demonic fires. Their icon is the burning Triskel, an ever-turning wheel that hurls out pure change. Of all Tzeentch's hosts, these are the least subtle, and their rivals often scoff at the uncomplicated approach to victory taken by their master, the Radiant Lord. Yet let the fires of change run wild, and Almighty Tzeentch will do the rest. Yet in this purity of focus they find great favor with the Changer of the Ways. It pleases Tzeentch to see the mortal clay of his foes rendered fluid and turned against its owners. In the bedazzling brightness of the eternal conflagration's assault, a small measure of his anarchic and ever-changing will is made manifest. The hosts duplicitous. Ask them no questions, lest they deign to answer. 9 times 9 are the distorted truths that they shall tell, and madness will be their only reply. Illusion dances about the demons of the hosts duplicitous, for they hold the power of deceit as sacred above all, never revealing their true intent to anyone. Even their symbol is a contradiction, with 2 screaming demon faces, gainsaying each other despite being a single entity. Such is the Convocation's all-consuming need to tear down truth and displace justice with disorder, that they will go to great lengths to confound and undermine the cities and metropolises of the mortal realms. This can be done through dissembling whispers, secret rituals, and obfuscatory vandalism. But when the time of the demon waxes nigh, it is achieved through large-scale invasions. With their master, the Phantom Lord, as their head, the notion of abiding stability and order is proven to be the greatest lie of all. The hosts Arcanum. From the great libraries of the impossible fortress they hail, thoughts burning with forbidden secrets. Purest sorcery is their propensity, for they are the spellcasters of all reality. No incantation is beyond their reach, no mystery impenetrable to their piercing gaze. Those who seek skill in the arts of sorcery will sometimes make offerings to this Convocation, as they are more proficient in the ways of magic than any other demons. They are all too happy to grant esoteric power to such supplicants. By bringing chaotic magic to the realms, they can peer into the works of men and weaken the division between the mortal realms and their home domain. Their icon, the AllSeeing Eye, hints at this desire to witness every act of sorcery there is. It is the host's Arcanum that the blue scribes fight alongside most frequently, for the lords and heralds of this demon army amass eldritch lore as a stone gathers moss, and even other demons can learn from them. Like attracts like, and the more mastery the hosts Arcanum show over their strange arts, the more they find the energies of the realms falling under their power. The Transcendental Change. None are as perpetually in flux as the Transcendental Change, for they are the true children of the great Mutator. They embody the power of alteration, unleashing wave upon wave of irresistible change, such that their enemies, their own warriors, and even the battlefield itself are distorted and remade in a multifarious aspect of almighty Tzeentch. In this lack of discernment is a strange kind of power. It is not for nothing that they claim to be the closest in nature to the elemental core of the Changer of Ways. The Grand Cabal. With infinite care they wield intrigue and espionage as others wield blades. The Grand Cabal seek out those who covet power or those who guard it with jealousy and fear. These they manipulate, fanning the flames of paranoia and avarice until an inferno of strife erupts. It is the joy of the Grand Cabal to infiltrate the strongholds of the mortal races. Several of the cities of Sigmar are being slowly strangled by their interweaving plots and schemes. Though the Order of Azir attempts to unpick these webs, they have been outwitted 100 times over. Seekers of infinite wisdom. The locks break and fall away one by one. Stolen keys turn in forbidden doorways as runes of warding flare and die like the death of distant stars. No barrier can turn them aside, and no warning shall they heed, for the seekers of infinite wisdom will dare any consequence in their quest for omniscience. They seek to unpick the riddles of the cosmos, amongst them the mysteries of the realm gates and the etheric void. These demons gladly delve into secrets best left alone. Fear them, for what they know can kill. Legion of Fate. It is they who read the weaving streams of time eternal, twisting chance and pruning potential even as they redirect the paths of those whose deeds threaten their agendas. All knowledge spreads before their countless eyes like an impossible vista, and matters temporal are as inconsequential zephyrs to them. Much like their idol Kairos, for the Legion of Fate, the stuff of causality is as a ball of yarn to a cat. They love nothing more than to cut away the skeins of destiny, and so damn mortal endeavors to ruination. Lords of Dominion. Countless are those who dance unknowingly to the pandemoniac musics of the Lords of Dominion. It is their talons that grip the puppet's strings, their scripts from which the hapless unwittingly read. Many do their bidding, though few know it, for here are the mind thieves and the suborners of will. Supreme manipulation is their province. They do this not to further some dramatic endgame, nor do the civil wars they bring about fulfill a greater purpose. They pull the strings purely for the thrill of mastery over others. The Unbound Flux. Spreaders of anarchy and slayers of reason, the Unbound Flux bring into reality those horrors that should remain forever trammeled within the minds of the deranged. Mental strength melts like hot wax beneath their unraveling gaze, and ordered thought deforms into mayhem. Stern minds and staunch hearts run mad at their touch, for the Unbound Flux bring change in such purity that no armor can be proof against it. To look upon their works is to go insane. Madness is both their weapon and their legacy to the mortal realms. Tzeentch Arcanites. Tzeentch does not rely on his demonic armies alone to conquer the 8 realms. The Changer of the Ways has lured many mortal followers to his inscrutable cause. The Arcanites and their growing cults play a crucial role in the great schemer's plots of conquest. Like his brothers, Tzeentch has corrupted countless mortal servants. Once they belonged to tribes of men, but they became ensnared, lured by promises of power, glory, forbidden lore, and immortality. Great champions rose, gathering those that followed the dark paths into armies, turning the age of chaos. Their conquests spread across the mortal realms, furthering Tzeentch's ineffable plans. Yet those slaves to darkness were not enough to satisfy the Changer of the Ways. In his infinite cunning, Tzeentch created other types of mortal armies, more devious and gifted in magic than any that had come before. Whether veiled by illusionary magics or hidden as part of a clandestine society, the Arcanites have grown in power and number. Although some of these hidden cults and secretive armies have existed for generations, only recently have they begun to make their nefarious presence felt in the mortal realms. Some made their lairs in secret forest clearings or places rich in eldritch energies. Others were secreted right under the noses of the forces of order. As Sigmar's new cities grew, so too did the Arcanites, spreading like some hidden malignancy. Although typically covert in nature, the Arcanites strike when the time is right, unleashing a bombardment of sorcerous destruction. Chiric acolytes, their faces obscured by cryptic masks, chant sizzling arcane bolts into existence that arc into their foes. Sects of Chiric acolytes are secretive, with many continuing to grow undetected in human tribes and cities across the mortal realms. To maintain their secrecy, the more conspicuous aspect of their altered forms are concealed beneath illusions and sorcerous obfuscations. The acolytes are careful to remove their idealized disguises out of sight of even their fellow cultists, so that none know the true identities of the other members. Great pains are taken to arrange meetings in hidden locations, where the Chiric acolytes learn the secrets of magic from a Chiric adept or magister in the cult's cabal. Acolytes all aspire to become powerful wizards, supremely confident that it will be they who master chaos, and never the other way around. Each level of advancement brings new secrets. Acolytes who show promise are granted boons, such as occult grimoires, talismans from the Crystal Labyrinth to boost arcane abilities, even folkarchs, carrion birds so corrupted by chaos that they hunt and feast upon magic. All Tzeentch's arcane agents are tasked with manipulating events to turn destiny in their god's favor. An alchemist might conduct disturbing research with dark magic, while a worker gang might plot to burn down a nearby district, pinning the blame on the different races that live amongst the cities of Sigmar. Feuds are begun and political alliances torn asunder. Insidiously, chaos spreads. When the cabal of an Arcanite cult feels it is time, they gather together, cast off their illusions, and strike. Chiric acolytes pool their energies in order to barrage their foes with sorcerous bolts. When close quarters combat nears, they close in with murderous intent, chanting all the while. Any foes that survive their magical assault must then face the acolytes' blades, along with those of their Zangor allies. The leaders of the Arcanite cults take a dizzying variety of forms. The Zangors are avian beastmen who serve Tzeentch, their unnatural instincts and animal savagery augmented with a keen, if cruel, intelligence. The Zangor elites, the enlightened and the Skyfires, ride the air atop scintillating discs of Tzeentch, sometimes accompanied to war by hulking ogroid thaumaturges. These brutes hurl roiling fire blasts, from which spring horrors, before lowering their mighty horns to charge the foe. Magisters are master sorcerers who blast the enemy into swirling motes of multicolored light, or transmute them into crystal. Cackling shields of magical power spark and flare as enemy blades and bolts rebound harmlessly against their incantations. Fate Masters are cunning warriors surrounded by an aura that alters destiny in their favor, while Zangor shamans ride upon demonic discs and cause the air to boil with mutagenic spells, each transforming foes into mockeries of their former selves. After battle, the Arcanite cults fade back into the hinterlands, covering their tracks with illusions or assuming false guises to live undetected amongst unsuspecting populations. Once returned to obscurity, the cults recommence their secret plots. In the wilds, fell flux cairns are raised, while in settlements, feuds are ignited and illicit political alliances forged. Foul rituals summon demons, dark rites pinpoint the locations of arcane artifacts, and events are manipulated to twist fate in Tzeentch's favor. The arcane cults constantly grow, luring in further conspirators, beguiling the power-hungry and corrupting newcomers. As it spreads its influence, each cult awaits its next God-given task. It will not be long in coming, for Tzeentch has many plans, and change is inevitable. And that is where we are going to stop for today. Like I said, if you notice ads on any of my videos, please let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider liking it, subscribing to the channel, and sharing the video if you can. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.